Good afternoon. This is Andrew from Andrew's Weather Center, joining you 21 minutes past the noon hour on this Thursday, October the 6th, and we are dealing with a very, very dangerous Hurricane Matthew as it approaches the east coast of Florida after pounding the central Bahamas last night. The eye passed just east of Andros Island and just west of New Providence Island, where several personal weather stations recorded wind gusts anywhere from 80 to 100 miles per hour last night. So those areas probably did not fare very well, and unfortunately, as the sun comes up, they'll probably wake up to a lot of damages. But the big concern for us right now, not so much North Carolina, but for the east coast of Florida, for a U.S. impact, Hurricane Matthew deepened a lot overnight and strengthened into a Category 4 this morning, and it's now working its way toward the central east coast of Florida, and it is not looking very encouraging. The death toll from Haiti, unfortunately, the unofficial death toll has risen to over 100, and that's probably going to change, unfortunately, as Hurricane Matthew actually washed out a bridge that was being used as a supply chain between Port-au-Prince, the capital of Haiti, and the southwestern peninsula of Haiti, where a lot of the damage was reported. So, a very sad situation out of there, and but unfortunately, this thing continues to rampage on, and we have to worry about U.S. impacts now. So as we look at the visible satellite imagery here, we can see a sort of an eye feature. Some of the central dense overcast may be shielding that. It kind of looks a little obscured a little bit, but this thing is no joke. It is a Category 4 hurricane, packing winds of 140 miles per hour. The pressure really bombed out overnight and dropped about 20 millibars, so this thing is really packing a punch as it moves toward the central east coast of Florida. As we look at the National Hurricane Center track, as of 11 a.m., about an hour and a half ago, Hurricane Matthew is expected to keep tracking at about 15 miles per hour and work its way toward the central coast, or the space coast of Florida near Kennedy Space Center. And this thing is going to maintain its strength as it gets here. And whether or not it makes a landfall is kind of trivial at this point. The main impact is going to be that this is going to have very, very strong winds and torrential rains, and it's just going to ride up the east coast from about anywhere from West Palm Beach up to Savannah, Georgia, and it's going to be a very nasty night, Friday and Saturday there for those locations. And this weird track is attributed to a lot of different things. The ridge out here is starting to pivot, and then Tropical Storm Nicole is now out here near Bermuda, which may influence it a little bit, but the bottom line here is that the east coast of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina is going to have some very bad flooding and very, very strong winds. And as we look at ocean temperatures, this thing has plenty of warm water to work with as it exits the Bahamas. These areas are about 29 degrees Celsius, which is roughly 84 degrees Fahrenheit. This is bathwater to this storm, and this is just fueling it even more, which is very unfortunate for the Atlantic coast of Florida. Once it gets past about the central Florida area, it exits the Gulf Stream and gets to an area of cooler water where hopefully it will weaken a bit. And actually, something to note down here, this cool spot in the Central Caribbean is likely, I'm taking a guess, from where Hurricane Matthew reached its Category 5 status a couple of days ago. And when hurricanes this powerful come through, they kind of suck up all the warm water and leave a cold trail behind them. So interesting feature here showing that this is probably attributed to Hurricane Matthew sitting in this area as a Category 5 the other day. As we look at North Carolina impacts for this storm, this is probably going to be on the order of Hermine in terms of, well, it's going to be more intense than Hermine, but about the same for wind gusts. Anywhere in the Sand Hills area and up towards central North Carolina, up toward the Triad, wind gusts anywhere from 20 to 40 miles per hour. It's really going to vary just where you at in certain rain bands if they make it this far north. And then in terms of rainfall, anywhere from 1.5 to 6.5 inches, which is extremely unfortunate for these areas down here that are already waterlogged and saturated. But it's looking like there's going to be another tight gradient across the state with very heavy rain from this storm, particularly on Saturday. This Saturday is going to be the biggest day for North Carolina impacts, especially in southern North Carolina as the storm curves back out to sea. A lot of areas in southern North Carolina, such as Southport, Wilmington, areas near Myrtle Beach in South Carolina, all along that corridor are just going to get lots of rain, and it's not going to be very good. And as I go back toward our satellite here, I'll post a couple more updates as I can, as I'm tracking the storm this weekend, and we will see how it fares. But God forbid this thing reaches Category 5 strength before it reaches the Florida coast, that would be the first landfall in Category 5 since Hurricane Andrew over 20 years ago. So really hope that does not happen, but this thing has really nothing in its way before grazing the Florida coast. So hope all works out to where this is not as bad as we hope, but it's looking like kind of a grave scenario. I know evacuations have been ordered for anywhere east of Interstate 95 in Florida, so pray for those people, keep them in your thoughts, and we will continue monitoring the situation in this dangerous storm. If you have any questions, feel free to message me on Facebook, tweet me on Twitter, or send me an email. I'll be tracking this all weekend and seeing what kind of impacts it's going to have for Eastern Florida. But until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you later.